So here's the next part. We're going to do this in a meditation in a few minutes. Get into the rhythm of your body, which is the heartbeat and the breath rate. Those two things are rhythmic and somewhat controllable. You can control the heart rate, the breath rate, of course, completely, almost completely, and that influences the heart rate. So you can control the heart rate indirectly. And by getting in touch with these rhythms, we'll discover what's out of rhythm. And that's where we want to apply the death ray. That part of ourselves we don't need anymore. We need the parts that are in rhythm. Hazrat Khan says that meditation gives us an antidote to death. It's a powerful thing. Of course, death is inevitable. And for the most part, for normal people, regular people, terrifying, basically, right? Because it's a leap into the unknown. Can you take a step off of a cliff and not knowing where you'll end up? I wanted to read to you some quotes. This is taken from an email that we wrote when Birbal had died. I said we are comforted by the wisdom of those that have gone before us. So this is on the topic of the antidote, right, to the fear of death. That one of the great objectives, or perhaps a side effect, depending on how you look at it, of meditation is this loss of the mother fear, the mother of all fears, the fear of death. And I wrote, we are comforted by the wisdom of those that have gone before us. Christ said about death, he said, ye now therefore have sorrow, speaking about his own coming death to his disciples. You have sorrow, but I will see you again, and your heart shall rejoice, and your joy no one can take from you. The Prophet Muhammad said, death is a bridge which unites friend to friend. Hazrat Inayat Khan said, the work of the Sufi is to take away the fear of death. This path is trodden in order to know in life what will be with us after death. As it is said, die before death. We do that in order to teach the soul that it is not mortal, but it is immortal. And in this way we may escape the great disappointment which death brings. Birbal himself said, death is the last great leap. Birbal's death was anticipated. He died at a few days short of 88. And So we went to see him, Susanna and I, a few months before he died. But, I knew Birvai a long time, and at the point that he died, I'd been his disciple for 33 years. As long as I knew him, he'd been predicting his death. He had a kind of a chronic illness, and he was not sure, But then in the 1990s, he changed his forecast, and he said, I will live to conduct the Bach Mass at the beginning of the new millennium. At the time, we thought that would be quite a stretch for him. But he was able to do that, and more. He died in 2004. So this is off the topic of this retreat, but I'd like to just share with you a few of the teachings that he had that moved us most. These are his words. The message of all the masters, saints, and prophets of the past has been delivered in our time, a message that is for the whole world. Consider what it is you would give your life for. That's what makes your life worth living. The human being is like a whirlpool in the ocean. Every part of the ocean is drawn into it. What is most important to do in these difficult times is to reconcile the irreconcilables. One of his favorite words, the irreconciliables. Irreconciliables. Reconcile the irreconciliables. He said, yours are the eyes through which God sees. Become passive with respect to the divine qualities that are active within you. The link of initiation survives death. It ensures that we will be together in the next world as well. And finally he said, after the passing of the Rasul, the masters form a new knighthood. So let's think about how meditation can help us develop this antidote to death. So in meditation, you're sitting there, still, quiet, in the dark, maybe, at least with your eyes closed so it looks dark, alone. And then you find this is a kind of a simulation of the death condition. Still, silent, dark, alone. And then you see that all of these things are not true. You're not still. There are waves of energy coming through you. So you might not be moving outwardly, but there's a lot of movement within. Starting with the breath and the heartbeat. But what is the breath? It's a wave of energy that moves through you. And even if there is no body to breathe, there is still breath to move through you. And silent, well, you're sitting in meditation and there is a sound There's a very beautiful sound. We call it the music of the spheres, the sound of silence, the inner sound. And there are 10 varieties of this sound. And they're ways of listening. You're listening to the, well, you can say the background vibration of the universe, or you could say the voice of God. It's not words, but it's music, and it's beautiful. And dark, is it dark? It's dark at first, but then you see there's light there. When you close your eyes, or you could be sitting in a completely dark space. It's not dark anymore. There's a light, because there's a light that comes from inside. And there's a light everywhere. We call it nur, right? There's light everywhere. And you're not alone. No, absolutely not. You might be sitting in a room with no one else physically present in that room, but the place is just packed. You feel a presence. So now we reflect upon how that would change a person. To have those experiences, to make this a regular experience, that you can turn it on and feel these things. That there's no silence, there's no darkness, there's no stillness, there's no aloneness. All of these things are not true in this inner experience, of which is very rich and filled with presence. To know that, you're preparing yourself to be able to navigate in a world that's not physical. In this physical world, how do we navigate? How do we make our way around? How do we, find our way, right? We use our senses. We can see, we can hear. Even people that are blind can make their way through the space and identify people and find their way and make their dinner and so on. So we use our senses, and we use, the interpretation of our sensory input through our mind. So, when we die, we don't have any senses anymore. Not those kind. No eyes, no ears, no taste, no smell, no touch. Other senses. The kind of senses you have when you're sitting alone, quiet in the dark, still. There is still a sense, right? There's still a feeling. There's still an awareness. There's a sense of, as I said, presence. And so, when we're no longer attached to our bodies, and the sensory systems are not available to us, how do we make our way? How do we navigate in this space? What is it? What is this space? How do we move from one place to another? Well, it's all done by the mind. Right? And movements are as fast as the thoughts can come. And where are you? Wherever you think you are. But it's not another place. There's a wonderful story about a meditation master who was dying, laying on his deathbed, and surrounded by loved ones who were crying, very, very, very bitterly sad that the master was leaving. And, he's trying to like meditate and transition, and these people are all crying and making a racket. And so he opens his eyes and says, "Why are you crying? You think I'm leaving? Where would I go? There is no other place. There is no other place." It's just a different dimension of the same place. So we are still with everyone on this plane in the same way that we are with them when we close our eyes in silence and stillness and quiet, and we think of them. We are with them in that same way, but much, much more vividly, because the mind, according to those that have been close enough to know, the mind is 100 times stronger when it's not burdened by the body. So imagine that you have this incredibly brilliant mind, and so you can. It's like a dream, but it's real. And of course, we have the quote from Lao Tzu, who says, "Last night I dreamed I was a butterfly. This morning I woke up and I wondered if I was a butterfly that's now dreaming of being a person, or was I a person who woke up from dreaming as a butterfly? Which is the life and which is the dream?" Maharshad says, when we die, we will see that this was the dream, and that is the life. Okay, well, let's start into the process here. We need to find those things that we can let die. The things that have their expiration date has passed. They're no longer needed. They're not helping us. Now we're kind of dragging them along. Parts of ourselves that we perhaps once valued very much, but things have changed. Bob Dylan, when he was young, he wrote the song, "Times They Are A-Changing." And when he was an old man, he said, "Things have changed." Another song. All right, let's